Hi, it's Clark on Temptress. Today I'm going to take a look at the Retevis RM22 handheld VHF radio. It's waterproof and it's cheap. Let's see if it's good. I'm not a big fan of unboxing videos. I feel that this would be the day I know the least about this, and well, it's the last day you want to hear about it. You want to know about it after I've used it for a long time. Well, I think VHF radio might be different. I think first impressions are valid because it's like, I'm going to take this, I've used a million radios in my life, right? You know, I live with the darn things. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, but most importantly, its user interface should be completely intuitive to me. So I'm just going to open this box up, see how it works. Later in the video, we're going to take it to a friend's place that has a boat with a VHF so we can hear what it sounds like when we talk back and forth. And it's supposed to be waterproof. So I'm going to throw it in the lake. Let's dive in. Okay, this is the first I've really seen of the darn thing. What do we have? We have a manual. Just reading a few words really quickly. It doesn't look like it's in horrible Chinglish. You know what I mean? Some of these are just unreadable. It's 12 pages long, repeated in various languages. So it's not quite as big as it is. But how much do you need to write about a VHF radio? What do we have here? Well, we have an antenna. I should have brought a knife. Here we go. Okay. Seems reasonable. We have the radio. Feels okay. I'm used to a different radio, so this feels a little big in my hand, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Let me tell you what I'm using now. I'm using something called a Baofeng. It's their 5 series. I forget the actual number. I'll put a little image of it up. Pretty cool radio. I'm a ham. So it's actually a ham radio, but it's been opened. And when I'm not in the United States and I'm in a country that doesn't mind so terribly much, I tend to use it on marine VHF frequencies. I know that's not legal, but I do it. And a lot of other people do it. Why I like that radio is it's a damn good little radio. It has an FM receiver on it that I think is really great, so you can listen to music. And if you put it in dual watch mode, it'll actually interrupt the music with your friend calling. So if you're waiting for somebody, that's kind of cool. Has flashlight, it has a bunch of stuff. It's tiny, good battery life, it's good radio. What I don't like about it isn't waterproof. So that's all the handhelds I have on the boat right now, and I find a lot of times when I really want to go out, like to go help another boat that's in terrible conditions and it's raining and they need help, I don't want to take it with me, or I put it in a bag and I'm trying to use it through a bag, and I want a waterproof radio. And I want to throw it in the ocean, let it float, waterproof radio. So I decided to look into this one. It's more expensive than the Baofeng, but it is, well, probably worth it if it can do that. I think this is about $65 right now on Amazon, and I just did a little looking around, and any other halfway decent waterproof handheld VHF is, for the most part, double that, so it would be a bargain. Well, let's keep going in the box. Here's the charging stand, USB, so, you know, everybody's got cables for it everywhere. And there's a cable, of course. There's a clip for the back, and a lanyard, and a couple big old screws. Yeah, they're for bolting this down to the boat somewhere if you wanted to. That's not bad. Oh, let's check something right away. One thing I really don't like about most of these, and the Baofeng's included, is how it goes in here and how it makes contact. This one feels pretty... Oh, isn't that neat? This one feels pretty stable at its base. I'll go plug it in and I'll give you a better evaluation in just a minute, because I want to... Well, what the heck? That could mean something really interesting. Let me do an experiment right off, because if that is what I think it is, that is cool. Okay, I just rushed off to my lab and got a little piece of wire. I'm thinking what just happened is I put it in the base without the charge plugged in, and there was enough resistance to say, hey, you just fell in the water. So I'm going to take this piece of wire and I'm going to short the two charging pins together. Let's see what we get. We do. Wow. That's a great feature. We're going to try it again when we throw it in the lake, but it looks like if this thing went in the water, and let's cancel this, it looks like if this thing fell into the water, it would start beeping and flashing its display. And, well, that's wonderful. It's this black thing floating in the water. It's going to be hard to find, but it's going to be a lot easier to find when you can dial in on it with your ears and say it's over there. And then when you get closer, maybe you see a little blinking in the light through the water. That's a feature I've never even heard of in a VHF, and they probably have them. I just haven't been up to date, but I'm kind of sold on that. Well, anyway, I'm going to charge it up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, time jump forward. I've given it a bit of a charge. In fact, I've charged it all the way up. I liked it. The bail fangs, you have to be really fiddly with how you get them in the charge stand. This thing, I put it in, charged. Wiggled it around, couldn't make it stop charging. Pulled it out, stopped charging, of course. So I'd say I like that. It goes into the charging stand, nice and solid, at least for now. Corrosion hasn't happened, but these are pretty exposed. I think you could clean them if they got corroded. Let me put the little toys on right now. This is the clip, so you can clip it onto your belt or waistband. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Don't think that's going to break right off. I think it's adequate. Nice big one, so you can clip it onto your waistband and it can flop around a bit and not get off. I'll put the strap on later, certainly before I throw it in the ocean and throw it in the lake, so I can see, you know, how that works and retrieve it again. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to turn it on. There's the on button, and it's on. Battery fully charged, volume at half. There's a volume button here. Okay, if I push the button, it says volume and squelch. So let's set it for volume. I turn the knob, and that's not how you adjust the volume. What's the knob say? Ah, the knob is not a knob. It says microphone. So apparently, yep, it has a facility for an external speaker microphone and a pretty waterproof feeling plug for it. So back to this. We'll hit volume and we'll use the up and down arrows. Yep, I'm now adjusting the volume. And when I hit the squelch, yep, I'm adjusting the squelch and it actually functions. Has dual scan. I believe it also has the three-way scan, which is just dual scan with another channel. How many channels you have to listen to? It's kind of nice to have dual scan because you can be saying to a friend, hey, give me a call when you need me to pick you up at the dock. Call me on 72. But you can be monitoring whatever the maybe 68, much of the Caribbean, 68, for the cruiser's, you know, normal channel. So you can hear if anybody else has trouble or you want to chat with people or whatever, you can hail them there. But when your friend comes, without interrupting everybody on the hailing channel, they just call on 72, the radio flips over there. Got a favorite button. Looks like I can go through a list of favorites. Yeah, there's a few set in there. High-low, right there on the front. That's good. So I hit that, and it lets me transmit at high power. And then I hit it again, and I can transmit at lower power. Now, there's two reasons why you'd want to transmit at lower power. One, you don't want everybody to hear you. You don't want to be screaming when people that you're talking to are half a mile away, or even on the aft end of the boat, like you're using it to help anchor. You want just not to pollute the airways with all that energy, because if someone else wants to do the same thing 2 miles away, you're all at low power, it works out fine. Also, saves battery. That's worth talking about right now. This has a removable battery. I'll pop it open later so we can see what it looks like. They claim you can run this thing for literally days in standby, which I guess would just be on and waiting. and 12 hours of use. I'm sure that's not 12 hours of active transmission, but normal kind of use. If that's true, that's a lot of battery life. I don't want to be out and about in the sun playing and chalking on the radio and organizing stuff for more than 12 hours. So that sounds like a lot of battery life. Let's see, back to this. We've got the weather channels, and I should be able to use that here. Let me turn the volume down.
Excessive rainfall in 5 inches will have the Retevis
Okay.
clip breaks from the
That's not bad.
stay well hydrated, especially spending extended periods of time outdoors.
I'm quite a ways from
Risk of rip currents is
anything here. I'm right in the middle of the state, so I'm not in a big marine area. This is probably a lake type channel, and it's giving me perfectly understandable weather. I'm going to turn the volume way up now and see what we get.
a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Around 5 miles per hour. Chance
Okay.
of rain 50%. Friday, partly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorm. East winds
Okay, I turned that all the way up to 30 and put it back on the weather channel. If you touch any button, it goes off the weather channel and goes regular radio mode, which is good. It was loud. I mean, it was really loud without overdriving the speaker. I'm quite impressed. Sometimes when you need a radio, it's loud out. The wind is blowing and stuff. I think this is plenty loud enough. I know with my Baofan, quite often I want to put it up to my ear to hear what's going on. Yeah, this would catch my attention. So far I like this little thing, and it's cheap. So far I like it. Last thing I want to do is just find out what kind of battery's in the thing. Can I get this off again? Ouch. There's a release. There we go. That comes right off. Okay, it's a proprietary battery, so you have to get it from them. Goes in pretty easily. I was kind of hoping that it might have been a couple AA cells, but not to get this kind of power. What's it got going on here? 3.7 volts, so that's one cell or multiple cells in parallel, but kind of feels like it's a square cell filling up all the space. And it's 2.2 thousand milliamp hours, so that's 2.2 amp hours. It's amazing what they can put in a little thing nowadays, huh? Yep, locks right in. Feels like it seals pretty good. We'll know after we throw it in the lake. Well, it's the first test. Hey, I can hear it at this distance. Sound okay, Andrew?
Sounds good. Getting clear.
Why don't you take it out a little bit and get some distance, and we'll try again. This is low power. Andrew's going to take the boat out a bit. Is it a real valid test? Lots of houses and stuff around, lots of metal. I think it's valid because these are really over-the-water radios, but if you take one of these, you're probably doing something that doesn't involve water. That's the reason it needs to be handheld. So if you give this to your significant other and they go in town shopping or whatever, and they call you saying, I'm ready to be picked up in 20 minutes, they'll be all amongst houses. So I think this is just about the perfect test. Andrew took the boat out of the lake, and I called him, and no response. That was strange. So he called me on the cell phone because he can hear me clearly. But I can't hear him, and I think it's a problem with his radio. It's not a radio that's been tested very much, and I think it just isn't transmitting, probably an antenna problem on his side. The bigger test is if this can get out, of course, and it can. We tested that. We've tested that it can receive because, you know, weather. So I think this is fine. I think just the limited test facilities I have here amongst friends is the problem. Next thing is, let's throw it in the lake. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it floats, and let's see if that alarm does what I think it does. Well, let's see if it floats. I got some fishing line on it so I can get it back again. Here goes. Floats. I can see the display, it's still on, but the alarm is not sounding. Could be because of the fresh water. Let's put it in some salt water and make up a little batch of salt water at home and try it. But I guess that's cool, it's working. I can hear it. Maybe it's a little more muffled with water on the speaker, but it's working. All right, well, we learned a little out there. Seems to work as a radio, transmits okay. Salt water, fresh water is different. Fresh water isn't as conductive. Honestly, I was surprised that that water in that lake wasn't dirty enough to be pretty conductive, but it didn't go off. Anyway, the radio is off. I'm dipping it in some salt water I prepared, and it says it's been dumped in the ocean. I'm gonna turn the radio on. It's functioning. Drop it in the ocean. Okay. So that feature works. I like the radio. Thanks for watching the video. I think I'm going to keep this radio. I think it's a fine little radio, and I like the price. I'm always looking for cheap stuff. And at, I guess it's $69 the last I just checked. I think it's a deal. So hope it works out for you. If it does, put a comment below. If it doesn't, please put a comment below. If you're thinking about buying one, take a look at the comments. If you find a lot of people saying it didn't work for them, don't buy it. But radios are pretty simple things. Most of the circuitry is available on one chip. I think a company would be kind of hard pressed to make a bad one, short of it leaking or just being built badly. And this looks, the plastic looks fine. So I think it'll be a good radio. Bye from Clark on Temptress.